Welcome back to Goldenridge. Today we're upgrading downtown with a thriving main street, fixing a wild set of train tracks, and building a train depot, plus laying the groundwork for a new town. So let's get to work. Okay, the first thing I want to do today is give a little bit more personality and a central location to our downtown. So what I'm thinking is doing is turning, let's see, I think it was Lafayette Street into more of a main street. So I want to start by switching up and using these angled parking roads because these are awesome. So I'm just going to drop these in probably for most of this area, I think. Yeah, at least to there. So that already gives us a bit of a new look. And then I want to go in and make sure that this is all mixed housing and mixed with businesses and stuff, and that everything is facing the street. So none of this kind of stuff happening on the street. I think some of this is zoned, so let's go in and get rid of a little bit of this zoning stuff. Let's just clean out stuff we don't want. That is a great building, but it is not mixed use, so it is going to go. These are good. Having a low building is probably fine. We'll get rid of this scout and let's dezone that. That's definitely fine. One modern building is fine. And then on this side, this I think is going to have to, maybe we should just rotate this entire block because this side actually looks pretty good. So let's come back to that. These are a little repetitive, so let's see if, I'm sure nothing new will grow. It'll be the same. Yep. So we will get rid of one of those. This guy is that mixed? Yeah, that one's probably okay. That one's okay for now. What do we have? Modern kind of apartment building. So we'll get rid of that guy because that is not... I think this parking lot is okay, but... and then this guy also is going to need to go, but I really like that building. So I think what we'll do is get rid of these row houses. Nope. Get rid of these row houses and then bring this, where is it? This guy, and just put him over here. And of course a new one grew because of zoning. So we'll just get, let's get that guy, and that way we can keep this little parking area that we like. And we will get rid of that. Goodbye. What do we have here? That is same with that other apartment building, so that's going to go. And these, I mean, there are sometimes these kind of houses, especially on the end of a main street. So let's at least get rid of these here. Did I not just dezone that? I sure didn't. So we'll get rid of that. And yeah, I think we're going to get rid of these two. Goodbye. And goodbye. And then on this side, this building I think is okay, but this one is going to go. And that block is okay, and I think that's fine. We can fill this with something. Okay, so that's already feeling a little better. The other thing I want to do is I want to take everything that is on this street and just push it back a little and give ourselves a much deeper sidewalk. We can probably get rid of that, at least for now. And then let's push this guy quite a bit back. And we've merged two buildings here. So we'll push that a ways. And of course, that's gonna... There we go. And that's kind of the end of it. And then we'll move this guy all the way back. And this guy too. Just want to scoot all these back. So I want to probably try to paint over with a different brick or some sort of ground texture that's just a little bit, feels a little more custom. Looks like we got a little hump in this road we can bring down. Okay, that's good. Now let's look at find it and check our mixed residential and commercial. And I think we're good. So let's go, we're about 3 deep. So let's limit ourselves to that. We're already in northwest and southwest, which is what we want. And these are all, I thought there would be more. Maybe that's just because I've limited our lot depth. Yeah, so okay, they don't have to be. We can do alleys in the background. I'm gonna go through and just kind of find good stuff for these in the right places, and then we'll come back for some of the more detailed stuff. Okay, that's looking a lot better. This public square thing I know we've used already and we'll probably continue to use, but I think it's a great looking piece, and it seems like a nice outdoor area for people to eat and hang out on a town square here, or a main street. So this stuff that I just added, some of that needs to get moved back again because that got all snapped to the road. So we'll just push some of this stuff back. Ooh. That, are we messing with our, no, not too much, and maybe those can probably stay. And we'll just get that guy back. And I think, again, this is okay kind of being at the end here, so we can move that forward. That's looking like a nice block. And scoot that. And get that back a little bit. Okay. I think that is pretty good. And then for this block, I wish there was an easy way. I mean, there kind of is, except for this parking lot. But so we're just gonna delete that stuff and then delete this texture. And then let's see if I can just just kind of, I think this actually is going to work. Everything is back connected to, oh, look at that. That worked. Wow. So I do obviously want to keep this one back a little bit. So we're going to have to, I think, bring these other buildings in just a bit. These ones back here, because they're looking, and that's not too tight on this side. Thought it was a little worse. Okay. All right, overall, I think that's looking good. Oh, and then there's no spots there because there is the pathway. I thought I deleted it, but it looks like I didn't. So yeah, there it is. Oh, because I have to. Boom, there we go. Now we can get those parking spots back. And move that back into place. Okay, so that's feeling a lot more intentional and specific. And then let's move this guy back just a hair. It's kind of pushing into here, but I think we can probably, yep. Okay, so now let's take a look at, and actually is that, those are a little bit high. So the other thing I guess we'll do is let's just select all this, everything on this block. This is a little scary. And object to height, and did that do what I was hoping? Oh, other than that, I think we should be good. And then we can just bring that street back up. Just want to make sure all these textures are flat. Yeah, that's looking like it. Yeah, I think that did it. Okay. So let's take a look at what kind of sidewalk we want. There's these big... Let's just take a look at a few here. That's not bad, but it's not... I don't know. Not quite enough flavor. Probably not the stones. I'm thinking it's going to have to be one of these. What are these under? Tile surfaces. I mean, brick is the obvious choice, but I'm trying to, let's see if there's anything that's not so obvious. See if we can't. Doesn't look great from kind of up in the air here. All right, I guess we'll try. Let's see if we can try more of an off-color brick. That's not bad. It's a little shiny for brick, but yeah, I think that'll work actually pretty well. So now the question is, with this, some of these will go on top of the sidewalks and some of them will not. So if this does not go on, oh, it does. Okay. All right, great. I'm going to go through and we'll touch up all the texture along this area. First, we will start by getting rid of the ones that are kind of attached to buildings. So like that guy and this and all of these. Okay, so that will line our streets and make them look a little different. And so now let's get some trees in. I think I actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm not sure that I have the tree planter decals installed. I kind of refreshed my whole mod install right before starting this series, and now that I'm thinking about it, I'm not entirely sure that I have them installed. So I will get those in, but for now, I think we will just, or actually, we could also just use these planters in something like, oh boy. These are a little big for the street. Those aren't terrible. Something like one of these could maybe work, and I think these are probably... Actually, those are not bad. Yeah, let's just go all in with these guys. So that's probably a few too many. And that's a little few too few. Let's try something like that. Yeah, looks like we already had trees over here from the last time, so let's remove these. And get our new planters in. Every block is a little different width, so it's gonna, or length, so it'll be a little different per block, but I think that is okay. Oh, no, I rotated them here. So just kind of split the difference and something like that. All right, now we got all our planters in. Let's get some trees in. We're gonna need something pretty small. I think probably we're looking at the little birch, maybe? And I think we were on 10.9 distance. Looks like, let's double check. 5. Were we on 5.5? No. We were not. So it looks like we were on 8.7, but I'm not sure if this also has the same. Oh, it does. Okay, great. All right, so we will get our city trees in here. Wish that circle below there was a little smaller. It's hard to, I missed that entirely. That's kind of what I mean though. It's hard to see exactly where these things go with that big white circle below it. I think this does, it's tedious, this whole kind of, this, especially this block situation, kind of lining everything up, but I think it really is worth it in the long run. It really adds a lot of really nice detail to these city blocks. Let's see if we can't get those lined up better that time. I think looks like we did much better that time. All right, let's get some trees in. Okay, so I think that's looking much better. Got lots of trees in, got the planters in, and I think having the wider sidewalks, especially with that extra texture, looks really nice. And then we'll go through at the end of the episode, as we do in most of these episodes, and just fill in a lot of these detail gaps with some alleyways and some back alley parking and more of that kind of stuff like we have done in all kinds of places in this town. I don't think there is a parking meter prop. Is that a thing? Props. I'm not. Oh, parking reader stand. Is that what I want though? That's not really a. No, that's for like a parking lot to pay when you pull into the parking lot. All right, I didn't think there were parking meters. I have not. This doesn't sound like something I remember seeing around any of these streets where we have parking, because that would have been a nice detail. So we'll probably have to wait for custom assets for that, among many other things. But oh, I wonder, are there... In fact, I know there are kind of streetlight options we might have. Light props. Let's get the whole category here. Okay. So let's see. Park light. That's not too bad. Let's see what things look like at night here. And there we go. So that's not bad. What else do we have? Kind of a fancier one. That's a classic for sure. I never use nighttime in this game because it's harder to see and all that stuff, but there are actually, I've never really looked at these lighting options before. That is put some stadium lighting in. These little ground lights are really interesting. All right, I think we're gonna go with, oh, and we should probably take out, can we get rid of these? Yes, because we're gonna want to do our own and not let these kind of overshadow those or overlight those. Sorry, that was a joke no one needed to hear, and calling it a joke is even being a little generous. Okay, so I like how these are across the street from each other as parallels. And goodbye. Okay. So I think we like these. Let's see how these look. We'll space that out a little more and see if we can't kind of get them in between. So let's see. It's not bad. I mean, it's more subtle than... Let's try these and just see what this looks like. We'll do 8.6 is about the farthest you can do with these. That's interesting. So I mean, that you can really see from farther away, which is kind of nice. And then just for the sake of tests, let's also just try these. Those are pretty nice too. I mean, these are so classic. They look great, but they almost feel just a little too on the nose, or not even on the nose, just, I don't know, not particularly unique to this build as opposed to, oh, I got one inside of this tree. And now we lost the tree. That's okay. So I think we're gonna go with these. I think they're a little bright, and they're, you know, but I think you'll be able to see them from farther away. If this was a game where we spent a little more time at street level, I would stick with those green ones that I had on that block, but these I think will be easier to see from a distance. The biggest problem with these is that I can't use the line tool because they share apparently a different distance than our trees. So I'm gonna have to go through and do them manually, which I am not stoked about. But again, in the long run, I think it will be well worth it. So I will gonna go ahead and do that now. Okay, I think that was worth it. That looks pretty awesome. Yeah, that really feels like a real main street with got your lights. I mean, this is a place where people are hanging out. There should be bars down here. I think that we got one specifically that is actually food and drinks over here on the corner. This place has got its little outside seating area. So yeah, this is feeling pretty great. The only other thing I could think of would be to actually make the street more of a cobblestone. I don't know, that might be too much, or I don't know, just kind of complicate things. Let's give it a try and just see if that's something that's even worth. I think there actually is like a stone, maybe something like this. Let's just see. It's probably going to cover up all of our markings, our road markings, though, I'm guessing. Oh, that doesn't look bad. And we could add it. We would have to probably at least add the center road markings back, which we can do manually. And then I wonder how we... Is it the whole intersection that has it? Or is it just, you know, like from here to here? I think this is going to be weird. Yeah, that would be weird. So that's not going to be a thing. I guess would it just be here? I'm trying to think. I'm going to have to look on Google Maps and see exactly how this would go. I think we're going to leave it for now. You guys let me know what you think. I'll do some... I didn't think about that ahead of time, or I would have looked already, but let me know what you guys think. If that is too much... Well, these lights are really on during the day, but if the cobblestone is too much, or if we like how that looks, and we'll come back to that. So let's get into detailing some of these back alleys and finishing this up. So on the heels of rebuilding our Mountain Pass Road last episode, I also added this little lookout spot. I want to go through this valley and clean up this train track because there are some bad steep turns. We got some of this stuff going on and some of that, and that's just not going to work out. Also, you may notice the cliff texture rock is different. If you go back to the first episode, this is actually the texture I had, and then I think some of the mod settings got reset, and so I ended up with all the default rock textures. So I think we're liking this one a little bit more. Again, always, of course, let me know what you think. But for now, I think we're gonna try to stick with this one. If you have any other good ones, if you guys know of any great texture packs, I think we're using Vivid Cities and a Bryxton Bay mix. But if you guys know of any good ones, please let me know, because I'm still not totally in love with either of these. The grass is not bad, but I'm open to some other stuff. So anyway, let's see how our train track is doing. So for now, I mean that is way too steep, of course. So I think coming in from around here, this I think is all, let's see, we can hop on this guy, can't we? Yeah. So this is all looking fine. Just follow him through here. That's pretty flat. There are trees on the track. But then you can see coming up just, I mean, that looks like a hill in San Francisco that you'd need a trolley car with a cable for. So that obviously we'll have to fix that. And unlike with the roads, trains don't really do the snaking. They either will go into a tunnel or they'll cut right into the mountain, which is probably going to be the move there to get a much smoother grade. This, I think, this is going up, and this is a little bit smoother. So with this, we might be able to keep a lot of. This is going to have to change. But that's okay because it looks like it goes back down, so we can flatten that out to meet this. And we've got the right shape but the wrong texture with the train bridge there. And then let's see, let's speed up a little bit here. Yeah, this all can just be flattened out really easily. And then, oh Lord, look at the end of that. That is going to be a serious and up. So I think maybe we'll just pop that guy into a tunnel at the end so that it can go off of our map a little more without just disappear like that. All right. So I think for starters, let's just set our filters to nodes and segments. Although I think this is still going to grab. Okay, earlier it was grabbing trees, so that's good. All right, so let's just grab everything after this bridge. And object to height, and so I think we know where our tunnel will start. So let's do that quickly. We can grab our, where are we going here? Non-electrified track, and I think we can force a tunnel starting here. Maybe. That is looking interesting. That is not very. All right, let's just do it. Let's just do it the regular tunnel-y way, which there are certainly never any problems with in this game. So we'll just delete. Let's pause and everything here so we don't have any trains running off the track. And we'll just smooth this out a bit. Oh, we still have tracks down there. And there we go. All right, now we can just kind of bring that up, and we'll smooth it out with the smooth brush. And there we go. Okay. Now we'll go back to our train track here. And oh, I didn't even see this stuff. More trains, oh, nice. All right. So we will turn off force tunnel. And we're just going to try to do this the old-fashioned way. So let's get our 180 degrees and down. All right, I think that's actually looking pretty good. And we can just connect to that, and it doesn't really matter where this goes. I guess we could kind of have it. Now let's just keep it underground. I was gonna say we could have it kind of come out there, but there's really no need to complicate this any more than. Oh, but we should connect it to our this old outside connection so that our train lines will. I think our routes will stay if we do that. And get our track back. And right about there. Or not on that connection. Well, I think let's just do that now. So I think if we go to passenger, rail, Okay, so now we have our tunnel, and this is looking better. And I think I think we're good on the way that this sinks in. I think that's fairly realistic. Let's just delete some of these bushes off the slope part, because that's not going to be a thing. I mean, we're not going to look out here much, but with all the time we spent on that mountain road the other day, I think we can at least give this train track enough of the same attention, because trains are awesome. So all right, that looks pretty good, and then that's looking ridiculous. So let's just kind of flatten that out enough to where we can smooth the terrain out for it and just get that feeling a little better. Just like that even is fine. It can look man-made, you know, they fill in a lot of earth for train tracks, so I think that even if it feels man-made, that's fine. This will, I think, let's change this to a bridge. So 4 tracks, we don't need, no, that's just the 2 track. Do we have 4? Is that really, I think this is, because this is a converted car bridge, so that's probably not going to work. So we can just, and it floats. It's also a little janky, so let's actually just redraw this whole thing with the regular real train bridge tool. So let's find our unelectrified track, and we're just going to force bridge here, I think. And we'll just draw this out to 180 degrees and bring it up so that we have essentially no slope. And right next to there, boom. Oh, there is a bit of a slope. Oh, we're going up right now. So let's see how far down do we have to. Oh, so these don't even really match themselves. Ooh, okay. All right, so then, oh, that's right, but this goes up and down. So let's actually delete all of this to about here. And then we'll just bring our track all the way across. So we'll start here and 180, and let's bring it up to give us no, let's see what happens if we start with 0 slope. And then we should be able to bring that down a bit to get back to 0. And how much higher is that than this other road? Might have to bring all of this down. So right about, oh boy. All right, and then we'll bring this. Bring this as close to flat here as we can. And I think we're going to want only to take it to about there. So let's see if we can't. Let's try that. And then see what the slope is like to meet it here. 6.8. That's quite a bit. So I think Let's just lower all of this a bit. I think that's just going to be the easiest thing to do. And then we'll start our bridge again. Let's actually just flatten this out a bit and probably go through, and that probably is going to look a little less realistic. So we'll worry about that. Okay, and then we'll turn bridge back on and get to 180 and bring it up. And now this should give us a much better, hopefully, curve. We can come down a little bit. 1.5 is probably fine. And then another 2 or so, because that's looking at 4. So yeah, bring that to there. And then connect this guy up to here. All right, that looks, it's not perfect, but it looks significantly smoother. Then I think we'll switch these back to ground level for most of this. We can have our bridge start about there. I think is probably good. So we'll go through and flatten and smooth that up just a bit so that feels a little more natural. And then that is feeling a little deep now. Okay, I think that's starting to feel a ton better. We're 2 for 2 on thinking, oh, I'll just upgrade this mountain road and these tracks and it'll be quick and easy. And then I underestimated the level of jank that was pre-existing. Oh, I knew that was going to happen. Okay, so that part is done, and then I think the only, there was, and then this is, this is not going to be okay, because this is the really crazy slope. So I think we're just going to actually delete the track kind of to where we just were, right about from here to about there. And we're going to get our slope tool and keep it fairly small. So let's just see. So from there to here is what? 3.4? That's actually not bad. I think that's a little high for freight, but I think we're okay with that. So let's start up there, and we're just gonna bring this through. The narrow kind of the valleyways here, and come around like that and bring it up to about the end here. So we got a little, all right, let's get another click going. So we'll click down here, and now we'll come back the other way, just see if we can't get a bit of a smoother line through this. I'm running out of mouse pad space. So then from here to about there. I think that actually just got a little steeper. So let's try now with our train track, and we'll turn constant slope on. I think will be our friend here. And give this a try. So we'll bring this in like that. This I think can be fairly straight. 0.8%, that's okay. 3.2 though, that's where it gets it's a little much, but let's try coming back this way. So we'll delete that end to get a straighter. Okay, so we can come down like this and bring that around. What are we at here? -3. It's not ideal, but I don't think it'll be too. All right, let's take a look at that. Oh no. Well, we got an accidental. So that's becomes much more of a canyon, but once we get out of there, maybe that becomes a tunnel. This is looking better. I think this is a little steep for most real freight trains, but I think we're okay. I won't get too in the weeds about the exact grades. Okay, so this area did not work out quite well. So let's try our slope just from there. Oh, it looks like we have an underground track going on here. Yes, that was the problem. Okay. Not sure why that keeps turning into a bridge. So let's turn on force ground, and then we'll just get this guy going like that. All right, there we go. I think that's pretty good. Let's carve out a little bit of earth here. This is probably okay if we just smooth that out a bit. We can kind of lead into this canyon a bit here. They do carve out earth. I don't know if they carve it quite that deep. This might be tunnel level, but I don't really want a tunnel here because I want to be able to see more of the train. So we're just going to carve in and cart it back a little bit. Just kind of bring all this down a bit. That looks like a bit of a more realistic canyon. Maybe there was a canyon that was already there that they just made use of. Yeah, that looks a ton better. Okay. I think that's pretty good. I think that actually maybe turned out a little more straightforward than that the second part of that road last time. That really became a thing. Okay. I think that feels much better now. It just feels like the train is on a much better trajectory there. So great. We'll call that done. And then speaking of trains, I am seeing this not enough vehicles, and we do have this, if you remember from I think the first episode, our kind of temporary rail yard out here. It is using all of the trains right now. So I think this was a temporary location. So I think what we're gonna do is we'll just pause the game up and we're just gonna get rid of this guy. No more. All of this is gonna be gone. Because I want to put a rail yard a little closer to our areas and kind of build a small little town kind of around the train. So we'll just get rid of all this stuff that was out here. Oh, that was already there. Oh well. And then I think we have some stuff underground. And oh, I had run electricity, I think, or water. Electricity all the way out. Or that was sewage, I guess. And what else is still here? Okay, and then we can reconnect that because that... Great, all right. So that's gone. Now I want to, I think, probably put a rail yard over here in our area. So I was thinking either here or here. This actually feels like a better spot, but our train track is not, just because that slope comes up. So this might end up being more of the town. So let's put it on this side. And then in order to kind of avoid it being so tucked into these turns, I want to reposition this little exchange here. So we will go back to our train tracks. And I think we're just going to come straight across this. Let's get rid of that. And in fact, we might even start curving it there. And then we can bring this in like that. And I don't know why that didn't make bridges, but we'll just turn this whole thing into a bridge area. And let's unpause, let the water go through. And just get rid of, clear out some of these trees here. I think this is a kind of a cool little island tree mount train pass area, kind of a unique river crossing. Okay, so that way now we've got trains going that way. Now we have to figure out to get trains going kind of this other way. I think we can use the same thing, but it'll just be a little more out of the way. So we'll get a train track in kind of something like, that's maybe a little far. Kind of go. Oh, we're getting bridges that time. And we got a bridge there for some reason. All of these being able to force mod stuff is great until you forget to change your settings back, which, as you have, I'm sure, noticed by now, I tend to do. Okay, so I want this to be out of the way, but I also don't want it to be ridiculous. And that's looking, I can't have it go into the water. That's, other than I think the fact that it's sinking down, I actually think that is working pretty well. So let's just try to match that height. Is that going to come up a bit? Yep. Okay, I think that is a ton better. And let's just smooth out and bring up some of this land to, let's see, I think we're going to want to match this guy with the height of our track. And then we can get everything on that height. There are some varying heights over here, but I mean, I think as long as you spread them out a bit and then start to just smooth it, like these kind of things these things end up kind of feeling more or less flat. When the contour lines are that far apart, it's not too big a deal, I don't think. That, however, is a bigger deal. So I was afraid that this might be too much of a curve for it being it's unfortunate that you can make the curves too flush, because that's kind of what you want in real life, but in this, problematic. And just make sure that these are all We'll worry about that. We'll worry about that later. Okay. So now we can get a road in here. And then let's attach. So I think we'll just kind of get these going in here. Oh, that's supposed to be a single. And this one is also a single. We can have that meet up there. Give another single over here. And then come in this way. And then let's upgrade our station with maintenance and... Oh, that fits right in there. That actually ended up working out just perfectly. I was worried we were going to have to move all of this as soon as I saw where that was going to go in. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that having a rail yard kind of meet up on these curves is not super realistic. Obviously, neither is that. But I don't know that it's the end of the world. I think this will all be a big, you know, we'll detail up this whole area. So that'll, I think, be fine. Okay, I think that feels pretty good overall. So I'm going to go ahead and turn time back on and make sure that's all connected and running. It looks like it is. See, I think this is going to be... That's a pretty good train crossing. I'm working with that. Okay, I think we'll call it there for new stuff for today, but I'll go through and add a little bit of detail here and there to some of the places that we already touched up. And then next time we'll get started on what will be our third kind of little town area in this river valley, with just some basic residential and kind of some small town stuff in here, kind of a little train town. So again, thanks so much for watching and subscribing and liking and all your comments. We're still looking for names for our towns. We got a few suggestions in, but and we may go with one of those, but let's just see what else we can come up with. And then we will, of course, need a name for this area as well. So I'm not exactly sure kind of where this is gonna end up following, but it'll be something like that, and needs a name the third. All right. Awesome. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next time.